Okay, so today I finished up that pocket signature, and today I want to work on the pockets in the actual signatures. Last week I Mod Podged a napkin to some cardstock. That's what these are. These great big leaves are actual napkins that are on cardstock. Um, the four corners were a little different, so I have two that are the same and one that's a little different. I It doesn't matter. I don't want the signatures to all be exactly the same anyways. And while I roughly cut them out in the shape of the leaf, I didn't want to cut it too exacting. I don't want it to bend when you were putting stuff into it. So I'm just rough cutting around the leaf to make that pocket just a little more interesting. I didn't want it just square. Now, I'm not happy with the fact that those are they're almost like white. They're very cream colored, but they're very light colored. And everything about this journal is kind of a little bit grungy, and I want to do lots of inking. So, in just a minute, after I figure out where I'm putting it, um, I start inking the whole cover of that leaf pocket thing. Um, it's not perfectly smooth, so it picked up the ink a little bit different. And I am using like walnut stain, I think, right now. Um, and then I go around the edges with coffee, the archival ink that's coffee. I wanted it to be a little darker on the edges, so I use that. And you could see the difference between the two. So, um, unfortunately, I'm doing everything three times, so it takes a few minutes. I really like how they came out and what they looked like once I got the ink on them. Um, Taking that bright light color away was kind of also the orange in the leaves was kind of bright. I'm much more pleased with it now that it's been toned down a little bit. I'm hoping y'all aren't hearing the lawnmower from the neighbors this afternoon, but inking takes a while. Sorry about that. I think I'm going to try to ink all the pages before I make you watch them again because just inking these pages took forever. I hate making you sit there and watch them. I will tell you that the new rounded ink things that go on the little handle, I don't know what you call them, they're foam ink pads kind of thing. I really like them better than the flat ones. I will put a link down in the description box for them. I just bought some inexpensive off brand ones, and I really like how they ink better than I do the flat ones. I probably won't replace the ones I already have, but I will be getting um, using the rounded ones for anything new. Um, what I'm doing is I put it back into the signature and then I'm gonna put clips on it because while our glitter glue holds quickly, it also needed to be held on tightly. So I just put it back in the signature and did that. Now I have to do this two more times, so I'm trying to speed things up where I can. Do remember that if you want to see anything more clearly or you need to watch it more carefully, that all you have to do is slow it down. In your settings in YouTube, it will allow you to slow things down. Um, so here I've got the second one on. And now we're working on the third one. Yes. I'm hoping that maybe I can this afternoon sit and ink more of the pages so you don't have to watch me do this all the time. I forgot to ink a bunch of things on the um, paper bag pocket, so I still have to go back and do that. And like I said, our glitter glue does not take long to set, but it takes a few minutes. So now I want to work on these folded pockets. And I have a total of 2 in each signature. And I'm going to do one set one way and I'll do another set a different way. I did that this pocket is like folded up, so it's 2 layers of the packing paper, craft packing paper. Uh, I'm looking for something to decorate the edge of the pocket. Now, that little pile that you're looking at, most of it is, and that piece right there that I'm going to use is wallpaper, but not all wallpaper punches. So I did a test on the edge where the holes were from where the book is held together. And I was pleased with how it looked. Now I'm deciding how many pieces I need and whatever. I did not want to put the decoration all the way across and through the spine. The spine is going to get thick enough, and I didn't want that decoration piece to be folded. It never seems to work real well that way. So now what I've done is I've cut 1.5 inch pieces. I think they were 1.5 inch, and I need 6 of them so that I can punch the edge that I want. That's the punch I'm using is got some little leaves and acorns on it. I'm just taking the edge where the holes were. That piece of wallpaper came out of a book and it had holes in it. So now I need to punch. And this takes a little time. Like I said, it would be nice if I had a whole bunch of these kinds of things already done up so that I could just grab and go with them. But I don't have that just yet, so I'm working on it, doing a few of those at a time. But for now, I'm having to do them as I go, so that'll work. The other thing I'd like to do is to use some of my wallpaper scraps for this kind of purpose. I really like using them as long as they function. Now I'm just going to sew this. I'm going to, for the moment, I'm going to glue this to the edge of the pocket. But you kind of need to glue all those little tiny edges down because they're kind of fragile. Sorry about my head. I will tell you that I want to do a bunch of sewing. Oh, well, right now maybe I should tell you about the fact that I used a baby wipe because I got glue that's kind of spread out into the little areas of the cut leaves. That kind of happens when you're trying to do something as tiny as those little leaves. Even though my art glitter glue has got a very tiny little applicator on it, it still has, it still kind of leaks out a little bit. Head's in the way again. Sorry about that. Okay, so then I did make those a little longer than was necessary. It's easier to cut something off than it is to add it to it if you make it too short. So that's what I did. Again, I'm inking all the edges. And I wanted to ink the top edge of the pocket. Now, I want to sew those in. I did not glue the edges of the pocket shut just yet. I will, but I want to sew across the top edge of the pocket. And because of that, I didn't glue the edges of the pocket yet. For one, the sewing machine wasn't set up, and I just want to go and do a whole bunch of sewing all at one time. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll show it to you next week when we get started, just so you'll see what I was doing. I probably am going to have to do some sewing here and there, just as I go, kind of thing. I don't want to do a ton of sewing, but I want to do some. And I'll probably be stitching with all black thread just simply because I think it'll go with that kind of grungy look that I'm headed for with this journal. Wish I could ink as fast as this video is going right now. Ink, not ink, but, well, ink too, but glue. Gluing those edges was, takes time. I did find it was easier to lay the paper on my Teflon mat and do the inking that way, like I'm showing you, than it was to hold the paper in the air and go across it. It just seemed to ink better. And flipping the page back and forth also made it easier because that made it 2 layers edges, and it was a little sturdier when I started trying to ink it. I hope you're enjoying watching this journal come together. I'm enjoying making it. It takes a while. Okay, now I've got all 3 of those pockets done. And now I have the center pocket to do. And the center pocket is the one where I have 2 depths. I decided I wanted to use this. This is like a bulletin board banner. Got it somewhere, like teachers use in classrooms. And I decided I wanted to use it. And I do have an issue with the fact that one of those signature pages, the pocket is not as deep as the other one. See here, the piece of paper just wasn't as big. And I decide, okay, well, let's get the 2 that are the same done, and then we'll go back and figure it out. So I'm gluing. I just used some glue stick here. I just wanted to make sure that that inside layer of the pocket would stay down. Now I am going to sew it, so it'll definitely stay down then, but I just wanted the glue to hold it in place. So I did glue the inside layer down. Did that on the first set of pockets too, if I didn't explain it. Don't remember. I did fold these up because I felt like one thickness of that craft paper was not thick enough to make a sturdy pocket. So I did do the double layer. Now then, this bulletin board decoration thing was definitely too bright. It definitely needed toned down some. So I started with the walnut ink and I covered the whole thing. It does take it down. It did take it to a less bright color. You kind of can see it when it's laid against the white. But it just wasn't enough. So I took my archival coffee pad and really kind of grunged it up better. And it really made a difference in how bright white it was. Um, okay, now I'm trying to decide exactly how I'm going to put it on, what I'm going to do. And I'll also tell you is that that bulletin board thing was not long enough. Basically, I needed 6 8-inch pieces, and I always cut things just a little bit longer, but I needed 6, and the strip was only long enough to do 4. So I ended up later. I'll show you. I have to get another one out and ink another piece. But for now, I'm just going to cut this into a touch longer than 8-inch strips. It just made it easier to work with if it was already cut. Um, I knew I was going to cut it up anyway, so it didn't really matter. Also, I decided I didn't like it. It's like so even with the green edges alongside the um, feathers. So I ended up taking one side of it off on each of the strips. And I liked it much better when it was not symmetrical. I want this journal to be kind of full and have lots of space to write in it, kind of thing. But I don't want it so full that it it won't close. And that's one of the reasons why I'm decorating and stuffing all of these signatures first before I put it into a cover. Um, by doing that, it means that I know how thick the spine needs to be. I kept debating which way I wanted to put these on and ended up with it with the feathers on the bottom. And it also, there's about a half an inch of craft color at the bottom of the page. And I simply glued these on. I am going to stitch over them later, so. And like I said, I did not glue the edges of the pockets yet because I want to do some stitching. And you can see I left a little gap again in the middle where this spine is going to be. Okay, now we got to ink some more. The walnut stain ink did not go on to that border very well, mostly because it had a high gloss finish. So I did use the archival ink to do the very edges of it. Okay, so now here's where I got the second border out and I needed to re-ink, not re-ink, but I needed to ink and take that bright white type tone down. I did exactly the same thing as I did on the first border. It's just that there wasn't enough pieces. Um, However, this is now, that pocket is not deep enough. It's not as deep. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, how I want to make it. But no matter what I do, if I don't do something about that little edge of the short edge, it's going to catch when you put things in and out. I didn't want that to happen, so I started thinking about, well, should I put some cardstock in there? And I thought, no, that's not going to make me happy. Tried some craft cardstock, didn't like the color of it that way. Everything about it just kept going, nope, this is not right. I don't like that, not right. So I started thinking and I thought, okay, what else could I do? I need it to be this deep. I don't want that edge to cause a lip. So I'm thinking, and I measure it to know how much I'm going to have. And then I get another piece of the packing paper out, which is already measured to 16 inches long, which is the double, the folded page. And I folded up, and I think it was right around 2.5 inches that it was. And I just have a double thickness piece of that same craft paper. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue that piece inside the short lip. It does add a little bulk, but that's all right. It's not that bulky, and it will make me happier to have the deeper pocket. That narrow pocket was just not going to work. So I just glued it in there. And then when I put my decorative edge on it, it looks just like the other pockets. So that's really where this stands, is that I wanted it to be deep enough, and so I had to kind of wing it with what I was doing. And of course, I'm reusing packing paper, so the fact that a couple of the pieces weren't as big as the others, that's where the thing came, because I'm reusing something. Didn't have any more of that larger paper. So now I've gotten one corner pocket and two pockets that go all the way across, so they're on on a double spread of page. So that gives me 5 pockets per signature, which kind of think are enough. Um, but I also wanted to try out a belly band, so that's kind of where my thought process is headed now. I'm thinking about what I've got and decide that I want to make a belly band. I got these pieces that I cut off of that border, and I'm thinking, okay, I like that. It's a little too skinny. Doesn't have any decoration on it. So I'm thinking about, okay, what can I do? Kind of thing. And also, I want to bring more color into it again. I had pulled this, it's kind of green on one side and kind of orangey, rusty color on the other side. So I decided that's what I want. So I need a piece that's a little over 8 inches because it needs to be the same depth. Having the pages square means that even if it's going up and down, it's going to still be 8 inches or roughly 8 inches. And the other thing is, I'm thinking about how to best cut my paper. You hate wasting it, so you want to try to cut it the best you can. And I'm thinking now I'm going to back it with some of that packing paper just to make it, I don't know, look a little more um, like everything else. Cohesive, I guess is the word. And for some reason, my 12-inch trimmer is not 12 inches, so it never wants to cut scrapbook paper in the right way. Now I'm thinking about, okay, so I want to do this. How wide does that piece need to be? And I find this is a different leaf edger. Those of you who don't know me, I kind of collect punches. It's just one of those things I really love is punches. Um, and this is a different leaf edger, and this is what I want to do is I want to put the stripy piece I've got on with the leaf edge, and then I'm going to back it with the craft paper. And of course I want to sew on this. That's another thing. I want to sew on it. So now I have figured out I need 1.5 inch wide pieces for that other piece to fit on. And I only need 3 of them this time because this is just a single belly band. These edge punches like this, you really have to pay attention to where you're lining it up and that you don't get it twisted a little bit. That's just how it goes. It's one of those things you have to just pay attention. So I'm going to go ahead and punch all 3 pieces. Now that piece of paper, that piece of cardstock is double-sided and it has 2 different colors on it. And in a little while you'll see I used the leaf punches, the leaf pieces that were punched out as part of the decoration on the belly band. The larger leaf that I'm using is the one that came out of the wallpaper edge. And then the smaller ones are the ones that came out of this belly band edge. And on the smaller ones, I flipped them over. So some of them are that bronzy, coppery color, and some are more green. They're kind of an olivey green color. And I tried to do these fairly random. It's funny how you go to do something random and you end up making it very symmetrical. As I was doing this, I was thinking it might need some bling on it, so I might have to come back in and put some bling down the edge of those belly bands. I don't know yet. That'll be more of a decoration kind of thing. And this is what I'm doing. I want to decide, I want to have that craft paper behind it, but I want it to stick out like maybe a quarter of an inch. It will be behind the little leaf punch out. They're not going to jump out at you. And I wanted the rough edge on there. And there again, I am going to stitch around that. So that's all part of it. It actually sticks out about a quarter of an inch, not maybe not quite all the way around. It does make the belly band longer top to bottom than the page is, which is fine. What will be sticking out is the craft paper, so it'll just kind of fold and probably get more grungy than it already is. And once again, I am gluing around those kinds of little leaf holes. Yay, belly band. Now I need two more pieces. So um, I end up tearing off the edge. None of the tears I made prior to this were as rough as I wanted them for this particular thing. They were all fairly straight tears. This ruler I'm using is a homemade tear ruler. Um, if I can remember, I will put a link at the top of the page. Lisa, my friend from Texas, actually had this idea and showed us how to make these tear rulers. And I've been using it ever since. Really like it. Oh, there we go again, ink and everything. Okay, now then, the corner pocket that's right here. What I'm going to do, I had a little spot where it stuck. What I'm going to do is I want to put the belly band on the opposing page to that corner pocket. So they'll be sitting like that on the opposing page within the signature. So wherever the corner pocket is, it'll be on the other side. I can't glue them down there again because I want to stitch around them before I glue them down. So I'm going to just show you kind of where I plan on doing some of the stitching, and then um, I'm going to go for today. Uh, this is slow going, but at least I got a fair number of pockets done. Like I said, each signature will basically have 5 pockets in it and 1 belly band so far. I kind of think that's enough. Um, by the time I decorate pages and make tags and all that kind of thing, I think that'll be sufficient, but we'll see. Um, anyways, guys, that's what I got done this week, and I hope that you're enjoying the series, and hope that I can get some of the inking done so you don't have to watch me do it all. In the meantime, go have fun, make some art. Bye bye.